Welcome back to Unit 2 with Miss Weaver. Today we're going to be learning about ordering numbers. And no, I don't mean putting in your order at McDonald's, but if anyone's going, will you get me a Big Mac? Just kidding, I don't need one of those. But we are talking about ordering numbers today. So what that looks like is putting them in order from least to greatest or greatest to least. Before we get there though, let's review our previous lesson that we've already learned, which is comparing numbers, all right? We are going to look and see which one is bigger, and that's the one the gator is going to eat. The gator is hungry, clearly, like Miss Weaver was. I wanted a Big Mac, but we're not getting one today. But we can help this gator get some food in his belly. So let's figure out with these two numbers which one the gator would eat. First of all, we're going to want to make sure we have the same amount of numbers on both sides. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 digits here, 1, 2, 3, 4 digits here. That means that the numbers are exactly the same amount, and that means that we can now compare them. In the thousands place, I have a 1 and a 1. That's the same. A 2 and a 2. That's the same. A 3 and a 3. That's the same. And finally, a 0 and an 8, breaking up the game. Okay, here we go. The 8 is bigger than the 0, so the 8 is the one that the gator's going to eat. This is a less than sign, by the way. I don't know why we're like rapping here, but okay. Anyway, our less than sign. The signs. We have less than and we have greater than. So let's talk about those for a minute. Our less than sign is our left hand, and that's because it makes an L. I want you to get your left hand out right now and make a less than sign with that hand. This is your less than sign. Your right hand is your greater than sign because most of us are right-handed. Our arms are bigger on this side. They're stronger. It's greater than the left-hand side. And the poor less than hand is like, oh, I want to be the biggest one. But the right hand is like, no, I am greater. Okay, this is your greater than hand. Then we have our equal to sign. That means that the numbers are equal, okay? And then we have our fourth sign, the not equal sign. And because it's not equal, it's not that important. We're not going to really focus on that. We're talking about our less than, our greater than, and our equal to signs, okay? So let's talk about ordering numbers because let's be honest, that's why we're here. We have two different ways that we can order numbers. We can order them from greatest to least or least to greatest. Greatest means the biggest, least means the smallest. So there are two different ways to order them. Big to small, small to big, basically. In third grade, we use big words like greatest and least, but it's the same idea, okay? So there are two ways that I like to help myself remember because Miss Weaver's brain sometimes just forgets things, and I'm sure your third grade brain does too. So we have least to greatest, and when I'm putting them in order from least to greatest, I like to write down L, and then I like to put an arrow to G. That helps my brain remember that I am going from least to greatest, L to G. When I am putting them in order from greatest to least, I like to write G to L, G, arrow, L. So I would encourage you in a minute when we are practicing ordering numbers to write L to G if we're doing least to greatest or G to L for greatest to least, because when we switch back and forth, that sometimes is hard for our brain to remember what we were doing. So I like to do that to help my brain remember what order I'm trying to put those numbers in, okay? So let's start least to greatest. We have the numbers 1,356, 5,362, and 2,523. Just like comparing numbers, the first thing we're going to do is see if there are any numbers that have only 3 digits, but it looks like all of these numbers have 4 digits, so we can go ahead and start ordering them. Now, we are going to also go digit by digit. We're going to slow down our brains. My brain goes like a million miles a minute. It's like fireworks inside of my brain just going off all the time. Pew, 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 okay? Today, we have to really kind of slow it down, tell our brains to chill out, because our eyes have got to focus on these numbers. And in a minute, you're going to see why that's important, because some of these numbers look very similar, even though they're not. So this one's pretty easy. We're only having to look at the thousands place because they're all different. And you're going to pick the number that is smallest out of the thousands place. We have a 1, a 5, and a 2. Which one of those is the least, the smallest? That's going to go first because we're going L to G. The 1, if you said the 1, you're right. So we're going to write 1,356 right here. Then next, we have a 5 and a 2. We've got to decide what is the next smallest one out of those two. Which one's smaller, 2 or 5? If you said 2, you are correct. 2,523 is going to go next. And that leaves us with one answer left. 5,362 is our greatest number. And as you can see here, we are 100% correct. We just put these numbers in order from least to greatest. Now, at some points, you might have 4 numbers to put in order. That's okay. It's the same idea. You just have to go slow. As you go, I would mark off these numbers so you don't accidentally use the same number twice. I've seen people accidentally do that. Now, let's do G to L. We just did L to G with these numbers. Now we're going to do greatest to least, G to L. That means the largest number is going to come first and the smallest number is going to come last. Here, we have to decide which one is bigger, the 1, the 5, or the 2. We already know that the 5 is the biggest out of those. So first, we're going to have 5,362 here. Next, we're going to put either 2 or 1. Which one's bigger? The 2,523, that is correct. And then the smallest is 1,356. So now we can put those same numbers in order from greatest to least. All right, now I want you to pause this video and I want you to go get a pencil and a paper because we're going to do some of these together. This is the only way for you to practice with me, and I'm going to give you guys some time, just like I did before, countdown, to write down your answers before I show them to you. So go ahead, pause this video, go get a pencil, go get a paper, and I'll wait. Okay, now that you have everything you need, let's go ahead and write these 3 numbers down. We are going to be putting them in order from greatest to least, from G to L. So that means the biggest number is going to come first. I want you to pay very close attention because I have a problem up here. All 3 of these numbers begin with the same number, a 4. That means that I'm going to have to look at the hundreds place to tell which one is the biggest. So we're going to look at the 5 here. I have a 7 here and a 6 here. Which one of those is larger? If you said 7, you are correct. So 4,765 is going to come first. Our second one is going to be either the 5 or the 6. What's the next largest number? Because we're going greatest to least. We want the biggest one next. 6 is bigger, so we're going to put 4,657 here. And then the smallest is going to be 4,576 here. And there we have it. That is the correct order from G to L. All right, I really want you to try the next one on your own and see if you can do it. This next one is L to G. Before you go and do this on your own, though, look at the difference here. I see a 3-digit number mixed in with these 4-digit numbers. Is that okay? Yes, it's okay. But I want you to notice something. A 3-digit number is much smaller than a 4-digit number. 500 is much smaller than 6,000 and 5,000. So keep that in mind as you write these in order from L to G. On your paper, I would write L, and then I would write an arrow to G, and then I want you to figure out which one of these numbers is the smallest. My guess is the 3-digit one. Write that number down. If you need to pause the video, that's fine. Next, we're going to look at our last 2 numbers and compare them. We want the next smallest number to go next. So we have a 6 here and a 5 in the thousands place. Which one of those is smaller? The 5. So next is going to be this number. And then our largest number is going to be this one. So least to greatest, we have 576. Then we have 5,760. And then we have 6,567. All right, let's try the next one on your own. Greatest to least. I want you to pay close attention here because all of these have the same types of digits in them, 3s and 4s, and it can get very confusing, okay? You're going to want to think, which one of these is biggest? We're going G to L. You might want to write that down on your paper. If you need to pause and figure this out, that is fine. If you want Miss Weaver to explain it, that's what I'm about to do right now. So you can pause the video if you want to try it on your own, or go ahead and keep listening. All right, we are going to look at the first digit in all of these because we have all 4-digit numbers. We have a 4, a 3, and a 3. Which one of those is the largest? Clearly, the 4. So that's going to be our biggest number, 4,443. But then we have a little bit of a problem for our next 2 numbers. They both have the same first digit. I need to figure out which one's bigger. So I'm going to now compare the hundreds places. I've got a 3 here and a 4 here. So which one of those is bigger? This one or this one? The second one, yes. 3,434 is going to come next. And then finally, our smallest one is 3,333. This is what your answers should look like. 4,443, 3,434, 3,333. All right, this one is also G to L, okay? We are not always back and forth between L to G, G to L. That's why you really have to pay attention. That's why I would encourage you to write down this G to L. I want you to try this one completely on your own, okay? I'm going to give you guys a few seconds to figure this out. I want you to look at the first place. You're going greatest to least. And then you might have to compare the hundreds place on these. And if those are the same, you need to go to the tens place to figure out which one is the biggest number here. So go ahead and pause this video and write it down on your paper, G to L, and put these three numbers in order. And then we will press play to check it. All right, you should be done with this by now. So let's do the countdown. 3, 2, 1. Here is our answer, G to L. 2,341 is bigger than 2,312 because the 4 in the tens is bigger than the 1 in the tens. So this one was first, then this one, and this one is obviously the smallest because it's only 1,000, okay? Don't let that trip you up. If you are already looking at the tens for these two numbers, don't forget that we want to also look at the thousands for that last number because clearly that is smaller than both of the 2,000s, okay? All right, let's try this one on your own. This is the last one we're doing for today. This one is L to G, least to greatest. This is a little bit of a challenge, but I think that you can do it. Go ahead and pause this video, and you can go ahead and try it on your own. All right, now that you have written these in order on your paper, L to G, least to greatest, let's talk about which answer you think you got. The least one in this order of numbers is 400 because it is a 3-digit number. So we're going to have 400 first. Then we have these two numbers, 4,000 and 4,001. We're trying to figure out the next smallest number. So I've got a 4 and a 4. Those are the same. A 0 and a 0. Those are the same. A 0 and a 0 again. Those are the same. A 0 and a 1. Finally, a difference. So the 0 is smaller, so that's what's going to come next, 4,000, and then the 1 is the biggest. So 4,001 is going to be our greatest number there. What I want you to do now is go and practice on your own, and then I want you to complete the boom card assignment. Make sure you listen to the instructions on the page so you know exactly what to do for the boom card assignment. Good luck, guys, and thanks for watching.